Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the free-to-play AGL Pinich unit, which is one of the Dragon Ball Fusion's free-to-play units, and we're going to see how he performs after his recent EZA on DBZ Dokkan Battle Global. So Pinich is a crossover category lead with attack, defense and HP of 77%. But that's not really that important. On his super attack, he raises attack for one turn, causes supreme damage to the enemy and lowers their defense. And in terms of his passive, it's pretty simple, but it's ki +3, attack and defense of 150%, plus an additional attack of 120% when performing a super attack, launches an additional attack which has a medium chance of being a super attack. So because of this, and because there's no real attack super effective types or anything like that on his super attack or passive effects, you're going to want to build him into crit. It's going to be the best way to build him, and it's going to maximize the damage, which is pretty impressive on his super attacks. He can hit some pretty good damage, so yeah, definitely something you're going to want to focus on. In terms of his link skills, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, The Innocence, More Than Meets the Eye, Tough as Nails, and Shattering the Limit. All of which are okay links. Sharing the Limit's quite common. Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race are both pretty decent links. And The Innocence is also a somewhat okay link for the youth team. However, he's only on Dragon Ball Seekers, Youth, and Crossover. He's going to be the best, I believe, on the Crossover or the Youth team, with Dragon Ball Seekers being pretty much just a subsect of the Youth team, essentially. So we'll see how he does on Youth. But yeah, overall a pretty decent unit. He actually has a great linking partner in the Int Broly, who's also on Youth and is a stacking unit. So he's got a pretty cool kind of linking partner there. They hit like very good. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting combination to run. The Youth team's an okay team for him. Unfortunately, for some reason, he never has like the Pure Saiyans mechanism. It's just something that's a bit strange considering his linking and everything, but I guess it's because of the nature of Fusion's units that he can't necessarily be on the Pure Saiyans category, so that is something that we do have to keep in mind. But yeah, other than that, that's the only real shame with this card. He's a pretty decent unit overall, and a pretty fun unit to utilize. He's pretty cool. He does really good damage, which is really impressive for a free-to-play unit, and he can help you on the youth team the most. It's going to be where you're going to probably see the most utilization of him. No real specific reason, it's just that there, for me at least, are better options on the Crossover and Dragon Ball Seekers teams, and so for me it's a little bit better to run him on youth, where I think he gets time to really shine and do some really good work. But it's going to just depend, it's just going to depend entirely on how you find him, how you want to utilize him. His passive is incredibly simple. The additional 120% attack when performing a super attack means that he synergizes really well with support units or units that provide tertiary buffs, because that's really going to increase his output. It's really going to be something that improves how he performs, because by him having that buff on super, it means that supports and effects like B-Pan act quite powerfully in the multiplication of his attack stat. So it is pretty decent, and yeah, it is pretty good. So I do quite like him. I think he's a nice option for a damage dealer if you are looking for one in your youth team. I think he can bring a lot to the table. He has basically 450% attack when you calculate everything separately, so it's pretty good. It's a pretty good boost. So yeah, but yeah, if we take a look here at Pinich, so nice defensive stat, pretty decent. Obviously shares a lot of links with Broly, which is something really nice as well. No support on this rotation, so everything is as is, which is also a good sign, and a very nice attack stat. That's a good attack stat. That's a very powerful attack stat. It is very high for a free-to-play unit, especially one with no support. Usually you can get those kind of numbers with support, etc. But I mean, to compare it, it's the exact same as TN's when TN is under 80% health threshold and has his full boost active. So it shows how hard Pinich can hit, which is a really, really good sign, at least for me. Overall, I think it's a really, really good level of improvement. I think it's a really, really good sign. And yeah, on the youth team, he can have access to a really nice linking partner in the form of Broly. Broly himself is pretty decent. I think he's quite underrated. He does a lot, brings a lot to the party, which is very, very good. He's a stacking unit, which is great. And he's not really similar to Pinich. Neither of them are, you know, limited in any way, shape or form, which I think is very good. Like, they have the ability to be functional, which is very good. So here we're going to activate D-Pan's skill. It is going to be something that does help out overall, and is going to be pretty solid. So we're going to activate D-Pan's skill. That'll allow us to really boost the attack of Pinich. This will be definitely one of the higher attack stats we'll see from him, and we'll get a good idea of how high he can hit. In terms of links, there's not really too much that we can gain from links for this guy. He gains attack, which is always great. Attack, he gains some defense, some more attack, some more defense, so he gains quite a bit, but overall it's mainly defense. He gains a little bit of attack, so nothing that's going to really push him over the edge or anything like that. Nothing that's going to really make him be this, well, not that he isn't already impressive, but nothing that's going to push him even further beyond, as Goku would say. So yeah, a really nice performance from Pinich, and we'll take a look at his best linking partners. Overall, the best linking partner is going to be that Broly, and we'll take a look at why. But if you want to run Pinich on any team, you are probably best looking at a couple links. So sharing the limit's the most common key link. It's going to be something that's super helpful. Sharing the limit, Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, all three of those are very, very good, and are very, very helpful, and are obviously, good key links, but they also provide attack and defense, which is very, very nice. So sharing the limit, Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage are all good. The Innocence is a good link for the youth team. So if you are looking to connect on a youth team, you can definitely run Innocence. But you can see here that he's got some decent options. A lot of them are pure Saiyans options, which is a bit of a shame for him. But there are some Dragon Ball Seekers options, youth options. He pairs nicely with the Dragon Ball Seekers lead, which is very, very good. So that's why I say youth and Dragon Ball Seekers are kind of going to be his interchangeable categories, where you're going to get the most out of him. At least for me, I feel like that's where you can get some good results with this unit. It's where you can get some really nice performance from this unit. Obviously, this Broly kid, a top performer with them. They share 5 links, which is very, very good. They do have some kind of synergy, with Pinich basically allowing himself to act as a short-term buffer for Broly until Broly is stacked up, or acting as a good foil for Broly, while Broly eventually becomes a tank for Pinich to just sit in the second slot. The only real issue with Pinich is his defense is heavily capped, and it doesn't really get that much better through link leveling. So you are sort of capped with that defense, and it's just not really high enough to take on the end game content. But it's still a very decent unit, a very good unit to have. And if you are looking at completing things like the youth SBR and things like that, you can definitely look at that. There's some good crossover options in the form of Kumba, who's a decent crossover option, Hachiak as well, but for the most part I just don't really see him being an option on a crossover team. It's not that you can't use him, you definitely can, especially if you're short of units, but the crossover units themselves are pretty nutty, so I would definitely say there are better options. But that being said, he's still really, really good, and I think he's a great free-to-play unit, and I really I do quite like how he's performed. But that's it from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.